Oh, oh boy. This is gonna be special. If you are a big fan of this game and you don't want to hear criticism about it, I just recommend hopping off the video now, because it's just most likely not gonna be for you. I'm just gonna drop a quick spoiler on you. I'm not the biggest fan of Blox Fruits. I've streamed the game on the channel for a pretty long time, and I've seen the majority of the content the game has to offer. Therefore, only one thing comes to mind when I play this game. How does this have so many players? I'm not saying it doesn't deserve to have people playing the game. Regardless of how much you may dislike some aspects of the game, you can't deny that effort has been put into it. From the fruits, to the moves, to the designs. Clearly, time and effort has been put into the game, but consistently having over 400,000 players? Well, it's not my place to say who deserves what. I don't really get to decide that. Well anyway, let's just shut up and get into the video. Now then, let's start a brutally honest review of Blox Fruits. At first, I was gonna punch the mic. Then I was gonna spit on the mic. Then I was just gonna full on projectile vomit on the mic. Yeah, I am not sticking my fingers down my throat. What kind of freak mess even is this video? Why? Because I was searching for the word or the action that would accurately describe my thoughts and feelings on the progression in this game. Blox Fruit is the patient zero. It is the genesis. It is the inception of terrible progression on Roblox anime games. Okay. That was just a bit dramatic. Blox Fruits wasn't the first Roblox bandit beater, but it's by far the most popular. What it did is basically take the bar for the quality of progression systems on Roblox and lowered it. I can guarantee you there's some game out there that looked at Blox Fruit's success and modeled its progression system after it. I mean, why wouldn't they? It's on the front page of Roblox even though it has such a lazily designed playthrough. I mean, why put in the extra effort? If a game with 500,000 players can excel with trash, why should I do any better? So, what exactly is the progression like in this game? Yep, that's pretty much it. Reach a certain level, accept a quest, fight NPCs, repeat. Reach a certain level, accept a quest, fight NPCs, repeat. It's the worst type of loop that leaves you staring at your device, bored and disengaged for hours on end. Now imagine doing this from level 1 all the way to level 2600. Sounds terrible, right? Well, yeah, that's because it is. There's nothing redeemable about it, there's nothing interesting about it. The NPCs are just all generic and easy. There's no storyline, it's just terrible. And the worst part? This has become the new normal. I can't even begin to count the amount of times I've been asked to play a newly released game just to be greeted with the same copy and paste boring grind. Even if there's sometimes puzzles and small tidbits of real content, what does it matter when there's so much trash overshadowing it? It's like pouring a cup of sugar into the ocean. I mean, sure, yes, the sugar is there, but it doesn't taste any sweeter. I bet you thought I was gonna be throwing a temper tantrum this entire video. No, just most of it. Believe it or not, I don't actually hate the fruit system in this game. In fact, I kinda like it. There are 4 reliable ways to get fruits in this game. Finding them on the ground when they spawn, gambling for them, trading for them, and the shop. We won't talk about trading for them or finding them on the ground because one isn't unlocked until the second sea, and the other is just, well, highly unlikely. So instead, we're gonna focus more on the gambling and the shop. Now, gambling for fruits isn't as bad as it sounds. Basically, there's a fruit dealer. You give him a certain amount of money, he gives you a random fruit. You can make this deal once every 2 hours. Simple and easy. Next, the shop. No, I don't mean busting out mommy's credit card and going wild with Robux, but rather paying in-game currency to equip fruit and use it as much as you want to. The shop changes every 4 hours, offering for a lot of good chances to get a fruit that you want. So, EMB, we gotta ask here, why in the world would you like the fruit system at all? All I hear is gambling and luck. Well, this is gonna sound strange, but I actually appreciate the accessibility of it all. A great example is GPO. I love GPO, but getting fruit in that game was a pain. I mean, it's a One Piece game. Devil fruits are one of the main aspects of the anime. So why have I played the game for hours and grinded to max level, and the only thing I have to show for it are a few common fruits given to me by some random max level who didn't want or need them? What I find refreshing is just how available everything actually is. Not having to beg max levels for fruits because I'm stuck with Bomb or Chop or something. You can very easily get a rare or a legendary by just grinding some money and having a little bit of patience. Now, does this make the game any better? No, not that much. Not that much at all, really. All I'm saying is that if you took this fruit system, bundled it up, and delivered it to a game like GPO, I'd be so much more happy. Well, at least we know this section's gonna be short. We're not gonna talk about generic NPCs because... what is there to talk about? So let's focus on bosses. Still not much to talk about. I mean, boss fighting in this game ain't the worst thing in the world, but it also ain't nothing to call home about. It's just a boss running after you, occasionally throwing out some random preset moves. No need to learn any attack patterns when you can just cheese it. Any difficulty comes from high damage and high HP. There's nothing too interesting or unique that really stands out. So yeah, as I said before, very short section because PvE in this game is almost as bland as it gets. Generic NPCs don't matter at all, and even the bosses are really only good for trying out new moves and seeing how much damage they do, etc. I've been loathing this section of the video because I don't do PvP in this game. Outside of occasional fights with people in my chat, I never really got into it. So of course, I had to educate myself and come to a conclusion on how I feel about it. And after doing that, reviewing the footage and meditating on it, I don't know. PvP in this game is different to me because it's a lot more based on positioning and movement than what I'm used to. There's so many true combos that could easily one-shot. There's no point in me even trying to break it down. If you're caught in a combo, the main way to escape is kin tricking or activating your auto dodge in the middle of your opponent's combo to escape. So, what makes me so unsure on how I feel? Well, believe it or not, I actually somewhat a little bit like the movement. I like dodging and teleporting around. It makes for a high-speed, fast-paced fight. It's somewhat new to me, not having any sort of blocking or parrying and just solely relying on movement. It's a nice concept, but in practice, it's really just 3 minutes of dodging and running around, ending on a 10-second combo. So, believe it or not, I could excuse all of this. The terrible progression, the lackluster PvE, the mediocre PvP, and whatever else I've complained about up to this point. If that was all, I just write this game off as a bad game and give it like a, 4 or 5 out of 10. But you see, there's one other factor that really puts the nail in the coffin for this game. The devs. Or really, just the entire staff of Blox Fruits. They have made decisions with this game that go from immature to bad to maybe even just downright malicious. Now, I can't speak on anybody as a person because I don't know them personally. I won't say, oh, they did this because they're terrible people and they want to lie to you and steal your money. There are plenty examples of immaturity, but this is one of my favorites. Insulting your community is just an amazing way to drive people away from the game, or at least give them a bad view of the staff. You can call me sensitive, a snowflake, or whatever else, but if you have an audience this big, I feel like there's a good and a bad way to address them. Going out of your way to ping online members just to call them stupid, it may not be the best idea. Even if you are making a good point about not having anything to do with a certain video, that point can kinda get lost when you just throw in a, oh, you guys are babies, go touch some grass, or oh, how about you go get some woman instead of playing this game, idiot, get off of Discord. But whatever, that's just me being salty. Now let's get to bad. Bad could mean really a lot of things. Terrible update schedules, failed promises, no communication, whatever. But what I want to talk about right now is lying. December 25th, 2022, at 8:06 p.m., update 17.3 was released. But who cares about that? The only thing I was worried about was Race V4. It was teased in trailers and talked about for months, and now it was finally here. Or at least that's what I thought. You see, they released it as a puzzle, which was exciting. I spent so many hours on and off stream speculating on how to solve this puzzle. Even the devs dropped little hints and teasers here and there that were supposed to clue you in on how to get it. So there I was, racing to be the first one to solve the puzzle, until... What? They released? What? Wasn't Race V4 already in the game? As you can probably tell, I could make a whole video about that situation alone, but for time's sake and this video's sake, we're just going to move on. And then, of course, we all know malicious.
Dragon token? Wait, what the hell? These niggas took my dragon. They turned it into a token. They took my dragon and turned it into a token. All old versions of Dragon Fruit were changed to Dragon Classic. You can choose to convert this to a random fruit. This can't be undone.
Overall, I'll give Blox Fruits a 4 out of 10. It gained 4 points because it obviously has effort put into it. And while I don't love it, I have to acknowledge that the game has some cool aspects to it. Now it lost 6 points for everything else. Progression sucks, PvE sucks, PvP is just okay, and that's only sometimes. The devs are... The devs are just the devs. It's just so much disappointment bundled into one game. My heart can't take it. I didn't even talk about mastery and how much I despise having to grind a few hundred levels just to use one weapon. There's so many things I could have talked more about. I could have dove into the dragon situation, but for one, I think that deserves its own video, and two, it would be like a 40-minute long video if I were to include that in this one. So there's just so many things I could have talked about, but since we're simplifying it and, you know, looking at it as a whole and not going too much into the details, I had to cut out a lot of things I planned on doing. Overall, the game just leaves a terrible taste in my mouth. I already hate the idea of such a bad game having a large following, but stacking on devs who think it's a good idea to take away something people paid for and then sell it back to them at a discounted price? I just can't stand it. I mean, taking a whole year for an update or lying about reworks, like it's just a lot. So giving it a 4 out of 10 might just be a bit generous, but while I dislike the game and dislike a lot of the things that have been done to the game, at the end of the day, it's still, the moves have still been designed, the gameplay has still been designed. It's definitely a game that has been worked on for a while, so I'm not gonna ignore that fact just because I dislike it. Anyway, thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Feel free to go into the comments, give me your thoughts and feedback on this video. If you agree or disagree with something, I'd love to know. I'd love to hear you say more about it. If you want to hear me talk about the dragon situation or the race v4 situation, once again, let me know. I'd love to talk about it. I just want to see if anybody cares. And feel free to join the Discord, link in the description, so when I do these brutally honest reviews, I can get somebody to help me. Because I can't even express how much of a pain it is trying to write this script when I have to like dive back and try to relearn everything about the game. So having somebody to talk to who knows the game would be so much easier. So if you want to help me, feel free to join the Discord. I would appreciate it. Anyway, thank you for watching. And as always, have a good night / day / whatever time it is for you. As always, peace out.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.